I fucking puked, projectile puked all over the fucking place, and I couldn't stop. Well, this is going to be a little departure because I ain't supposed to be doing this anymore, but right about now I don't give a fuck. And look at that. Yeah, I got something going on. Hang on one second here. Seems that due to someone not telling me something last year when I went in for a CAT scan and not telling me what was going on, I have been dragging around all this heavy shit for the last 2 years or whatever, and doing this whole thing with my food project and lugging, meat to the food pantries and shit. Well, I just found out today that I got 4 fucking abdominal hernias. So there ain't no wondering if there's gonna have to be surgery. I ain't fucking happy about that. And it's like around after midnight, and I can't fucking sleep. So, being that misery loves company, I decided to share this special grindhouse purgatory with you all. Oh, you lucky. And I'm not supposed to be doing this anymore because there's some kind of other shit going on. So, yeah. Give me anti-anxiety meds and play by the rules, and the anti-anxiety meds aren't making me fucking sleep. So anyway, I was hearkening back to better times, like, the early days of conventions, when conventions were fun, and the after-convention fun, which was like more fun. Especially at Chiller. Chiller used to be, the later you stayed up, the weirder it got. And if you looked at unconventional, that's only a taste. Very strange things happened at Chiller. I remember one time, I don't know, somebody was supposed to go out, oh, we're going to get a garbage can to, put all the beer in. So that was, seemed like a good idea. He shows up with a big rusty garbage can that he fucking yanked off somebody's front lawn. So we had that. That was one thing. I remember there was a big dude. I guess he used to be one of my customers at Rockaway. I think his name was Brian something. Guy was about 6'4", big red-headed guy, and he was a Chiller. So there was a bunch of these guys used to be my customers. They weren't staying at the Chiller Hotel. They were staying at the one further down. I guess it was the Red Roof or something like that. And they were walking to the hotel, and Brian was like shit-faced drunk, and he passed out. So rather, they couldn't carry him because he was so big, so they sort of just like rolled him up on the curb and left him there. So all night I kept hearing these fucking stories about that. They found this body by the curb. They found this body by the bushes. Well, it seems he would wake up and wander closer to the hotel, then pass out again. Because at one point he was in the bushes outside the hotel. Then somebody sent me a video, and it was him in the bar, and whoever was filming the video was taking bets because he was like weaving back and forth and back and forth. Bets when he would hit the floor. So what also was on that video was yours truly, of course. It was Bobby Slash's band. Unfortunately, Bobby passed away at a young age too. I don't remember the girl it was some, damn. She was a scream queen. I'm trying to think who it was. Might have been Debbie Dutch. But we're on stage screwing around, and it got to the point where basically they wanted to close up, so they cut our mics. So at one point, she was rolling around on the stage, and she was wearing nylon tights. And on this video, and they must have walked away from that, and then she's at the front desk asking if anybody turned in a diamond-studded earring because she lost one, and the camera panned down, and there was the stud stuck right in the cheek of her ass through the fishnets. So I'm like, okay. There was that, and then, I'm trying to think. when the bands were playing and stuff like that, a lot of crazy shit was going on. And I remember something, we were out in the tent, the big tent in the parking lot. And I was wearing my leather trench coat, and somebody was fucking around and hit me with a bullwhip. And I had that Singapore cane in my hand, and I said, "Oh, you think that hurt?" And I'm like, bam, bada bam, bada bam, bada bam, bada bam. That was after drinking a bottle of Absolute and a pint of Smirnoffs. So the next morning, I'm like, what the fuck did I do? Did I walk into anything? And it's like, people going, you don't remember the fucking cane you had? No. And then I'm thinking, I'm really glad that, I did all this shit before YouTube, because there was some other crazy shit that was going on. We had this, when we switched hotels, I believe it was the Sheridan, that, they wanted to do the band thing, and they had the original members of the Alice Cooper band there. And what they did was, where we wanted to play inside. The band, not me, I don't play anything. The band wanted to play inside, but the hotel wanted them outside. So we're outside, basically facing Route 3. And it was, Mark Goddard was up there doing something, and like people were like, "Oh, Mark, what are you doing?" Mark was like pretty sloshed and incoherent. And I'm like, I see this from across the parking lot, and I run over and I run up to Mark. I go, "Mark, the band's behind you. They want to go on," because they're all standing behind with their guitars ready. So we get rid of Mark. So they're playing. And what happened was, the music was so loud and so good that it was like attracting people that shouldn't fucking be there off the highway. But, of course, I'm sitting there, I got a fucking huge container of vodka and cranberry juice, and I went to lean on what I thought was a speaker, because I'm already shit-faced, and I go tumbling off the fucking stage in the back, drenching myself with cranberry juice. So, now it's like, okay, bands are done, the party's over, but you got these fucking people hanging around that are looking to fucking cause problems. So, a couple guys go, listen, you guys got to help. This is just getting out of hand and shit. And I'm like, dude, I'm fucking drunk and I'm off fucking duty. But luckily a couple of my friends showed up that came in late, and they go, "What's going on?" I says, "There might be a couple fucking problems here. Can you hang out, just in case?" Yeah, no problem. So this one guy was causing a stink, and I said, "Dude, you got to leave." And he goes, "I love you, man. I love you, man." And I saw what was fucking coming, because it was obvious. He was going to throw a kick at me. I grabbed the motherfucker by the leg, flipped him into the building. I says, "That's it? You want to make it a longer fucking night? Get the fuck out." So that was, shit like that really rarely happened, but that was like because the hotel wanted the fucking bands out in front. So after that, we were back in the hotel, and there was no more, attracting fucking crowds from everywhere, that shouldn't be there. Then there was, let me see, I remember there was a little embarrassing thing at a Fango show at, I think it was the Secaucus Hotel or something, that there was something where they were going to have coffee and cake with the stars. And of course, the only stars that were, the good stars that were there weren't going to have any of this nonsense. So it was basically, I think, Tom Savini, John Russo, and they begged Lloyd Kaufman to get Sergeant Kabuki Man and the Toxic Avenger in. So part of that deal was that we had to come in too, because we were hanging out with them. And when I saw how lame this fucking thing was, I said, please do not mention that I'm even in the fucking room, because I will not go up to that fucking mic and be introduced. That's how fucking weird and lame it was. But of course, not to be outdone, I think Monster Mania did the same thing. And it was like they had someone announcing when the guests come in, so the fans that paid whatever exorbitant fucking price it was to get that fucking debacle going, they would rush right up with their little pens and papers and lithographs and, get the photo up. So Sid Haig came in, and I'm standing there, and he goes, "What's this?" I go, "That's the meet and greet I guess you're supposed to be at." And he took one look, and he goes, "What room are you guys in? Because I'm coming up there." So that was pretty cool, because we pretty much spent the night with Sid Haig and his wife, and he was, telling us all the good stories of the Philippines and stuff like that he really can't tell a mixed crowd. But that was really cool. But, like that whole thing was fucking lame, and it was like, really, I don't know. I've never been that much of a fan mark out to, want to have coffee and cake with the stars. Sorry, that's just my thing. I can go on about that. Yeah, some other, other crazy stuff. I mean, the Cinema Wasteland famous blackout show where the power went off and it was like Dante's Inferno by candlelight. That's when the hotel really figured out what the fucking show was about. People dancing on tables in the bar and shit. I think just the emergency lights were on and things. Yeah, that was actually, I believe, my first Wasteland. We drove up there, a bunch of us that used to hang out at Monster Mania. So, yeah, that was my first Wasteland. I'll cut this one off because that's the convention segment. We'll do part 2 with I don't know why this popped into my head tonight. The Nightmarish Vacation to the Jersey Shore, and I had to be about fucking 19 when we did this. That's when I was managing the Livingston Drive-In for the summer, and I met 2 guys up there and we started hanging out, Steve and Gearhart. So we decided to spend a fun-filled week down at Seaside Heights, New Jersey, at the Ocean Glow Motel, and basically fucking wreak havoc. Wreak enough havoc to have the cops come down on us. We didn't bring much for food, but we found this cheap beer that was $1 a 6-pack. It was called Horlacker Ale. See if you can find it today. We bought 25 cases of the shit. And went down there and checked into the wonderful Ocean Glow Motel and stocked the room with this fucking, cases of beer. So we were rude and obnoxious. I think the first night we got drunk and climbed up on the second balcony and started hanging people's lawn furniture off by their clotheslines. That was fucked up. And then, you had the boardwalk with the amusements and shit, and they had this, thing about with a .22 rifle you shoot I think it was a letter, like a letter A. If you shoot the letter A out, which is real small, you win the prize, which was a little bit hard to do, but see, back then I was practicing regular at a rifle range with a .22 rifle, so I'm fucking down for this. I shot the fucker out. This guy said I didn't. I'm like, do you see any remnant of that fucking letter on this thing? He's arguing with me, and then a moth lands on the fucking hole. So I go, well, watch this. Boom. I think the fucker called the cops because we were being shadowed on the boardwalk that night. I knew these guys were plainclothesmen, but what I didn't know is there was going to be a big drug bust, and yours truly was going to be part of that whole thing. Because we, in addition to the 25 cases of cheap, shitty beer, we had an ounce of cheap, shitty weed that reeked. And we were openly smoking it. Well, one day, some guy just ran up and goes, "Can I use your guys' bathroom?" And one of the guys said, "Yeah." And I'm like, bad idea. The weed was out. So, all right. We didn't know we didn't know any of this shit going on. So we go out, and after, I don't know, I think I was drinking some hard stuff, maybe a few shots of tequila on top of the Horlacker beer, and had a delicious dinner of fried clams and a tuna hero, when someone suggested, let's go on the rotor. Well, I don't know if it's called the rotor now or back then, but that's what I knew it was called, because it was this circular room you got into, and it spun around, and the centrifugal force would hold you to the sides, and the floor would drop out. Okay, I got a belly full of shitty food and liquor, and I'm on this thing. Well, this thing stops, and I'm like walking out. How'd you like the ride, dude? I fucking projectile puked all over the fucking place, and I couldn't stop. Basically, they made me a t-shirt up later that said, "I Ralph the length of Casino Pier," which I did. And of course, this just made me even, I was like, they had to basically carry me back to the fucking room, and as good drunks do, when one drunk is incapacitated, they fucking leave him and go back out and party. So I'm laying on the fucking bed, 1 foot on the floor, trying to keep the room spinning, and I thought I fucking hallucinated this, but I didn't. I thought I saw these red and blue lights and heard fucking voices and sirens, somebody banging on my door. Be that as it may, I couldn't fucking get up. I thought I imagined the whole thing. So I passed out, woke up reeky, disgustingly, still dry heaving, crawled to the soda machine, got 4 cans of Coke, shook them up to get rid of the fucking carbonation so I could just drink the fucking syrup at the bottom to settle my stomach. So, alright. Now, part I left out was we hadn't thrown away one empty can of beer. We made a fucking huge fucking pyramid of beer cans in the middle of the fucking room. Well, I don't know what the culmination of it was, but I think when Gearhart got drunk and climbed up on the lifeguard stand and grabbed the megaphone and yelled, "All you people get out of the fucking water," that might have drew all the heat on us. So, now, we know something's going on, and we figure, let's clean the fucking room out now. So, I said, I think we were that stupid enough to drag a whole wire trash can off the fucking sidewalk in there and start filling it with beer. Well, guess what? Hey, we all get fucking busted. We're taken down to wherever, and we're in a fucking holding tank with about 30 other fucking people because this must have been roundup night. But for some inexplicable reason, they let us go the next morning with some kind of small fucking fine for disorderly conduct, and they knew we wouldn't make a court, whatever the fuck it was. I didn't know what the fuck was going on until I got home, because I was still living with my parents, and my old man goes, "Well, you have a great vacation?" I go, "It was pretty good." He goes, "How much weed did you smoke? How much beer did you drink? How much damage did you do?" And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, well, he had a friend of his who was an undercover cop that was down there on stakeout, and he was the one who basically told the people that busted us that we're assholes, and he knows us, whatever, and we couldn't have anything to do with what was fucking going on regardless." So basically, on his say-so, we got released, which probably wouldn't fucking happen today, but this guy became some kind of huge federal narc or something like that, because I went to his retirement party, and he was like, "Yeah, you still doing stupid shit, kid?" I'm like, "Yeah, still doing it. So yeah, that was the wonderful vacation at the Ocean Glow Motel in Seaside Heights, New Jersey. So, other than that, I don't know, maybe I should try to get some fucking sleep. I don't know, this sucks. I fucking hate doctors, I hate prescription drugs, and I hate, well, you're going to have to get fucking surgery. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Just go get it done and get it over with and fuck it. So, hopefully it'll be okay. Not looking for sympathy, just, rambling in the middle of the fucking night because I just took a fucking hit off that shit. So, alright, well, everybody stay fucking safe. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to my rambling thing. And if it made you laugh, I got plenty more of these stupid ass fucking stories I got involved in. So, what was the thing I used to do on that? Remember Rocky and Bullwinkle? That dated me. They used to have a segment called Fractured Fairy Tales. I could have, like, fucked up fairy tales or something like that. I don't know. It's all good, I lived it. I'm still here. But, life goes on. So, alright, my friends, stay safe. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. See you on the flip side. Night.